Hi, everyone. My name is Giampaolo Battaglia. I'm working on the Microsoft AI team in the marketing side, and with me there is Paul Stubbs. Hi, Paul.
Hi, I'm Paul Stubbs. I'm Director of AI Marketing, and I lead autonomous systems.
So first, is anyone able to hear me right now, or is that too noisy?
Can you hear us in the back, way back?
So it's slow, we need to... Can anyone increase the audio? Wait, I'm going to ask behind.
We're going to ask for the volume.
Hello? Can you increase the audio more? A little bit more? Oh my God, I'm destroying that. So yeah, we're going to talk about cognitive capabilities. The session of the day is about how we're empowering all developers. And so my name is Giampaolo Battaglia, there is Paul Stubbs. First, just before starting, just to pump up, because I know we've been put in nearly the end of the day and everyone is tired of seeing all the sessions. And we're talking about cognitive capabilities. We're going to talk about them. So the idea is to do a kind of cognitive experiment. In the same time, this will make me check if you're able to listen to me. So it's very basic. Technically, cognitive capabilities are related to the ability to hear what I say, to see what I do, but not only for humans, but also for machines. So we're going to do a cognitive experiment right now, and everyone will need to do it. If not, I'm going to finger point the people who are not doing it. So I will ask everyone to put their hands like that. Everyone, even people on the phone. So now, it's pretty straightforward. You'll need to put your palms externally. OK, some people with a jet lag, it might be difficult for that one. You need to raise your left hand. Left, I see some right hands there. OK, put the left hand in the middle, go down, and close your hands. Strong, 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 strong. So now where it's going to be interesting is that your fingers should be able to touch like that. OK. And so technically, if you hear what I say and see what I do, everyone should be able to do that. So you need to listen carefully, because then the cognitive experiments might work after. So hello, everyone. So the idea of this session is quickly to give you an overview about what our team is working on at Microsoft. And it's really about how we're providing you the tools to get started on AI. And not on an individual product, but more about seeking innovation with different product groups, such as Microsoft Research on one side, and you'll see a little bit these examples. But it's not only showing you and telling you how we release this and that, but also evolving from different individual pieces to this kind of experiments that you can play with and seeing how this innovation works. Sorry. But not only seeing innovation and playing with it, but also how you're going to use it on your own through specific step-by-step guides to get started on your own for your specific experimentation of the capabilities. So when you think about these three layers, we've got different capabilities. So I put some URLs there. I will show them after. But it goes from different pieces. Like when we're discussing with Microsoft Research, people are making pictures, so I'll be there. So on the left side, you've got all the innovation stories that we're having. Like today, for example, for autonomous systems, we had kind of interesting announcements, and Paul is going to talk a little bit more about that. So we're talking about these pieces of announcements, and at the same time, we're going to show you how to get started with them, how to play with them through specific experimentation. On the other side, it's really about how you're going to take these pieces by your side and not only download that from a GitHub repo, but really seeing the step-by-step guides and tutorials to implement that with your own flavor if it's needed. And the last piece is always thinking about how you're going to put all these pieces in place through a responsible approach. And this is all our activities we're having about responsible AI. So for the record, by the way, all these different categories and pillars are present out there. We've got a big Microsoft AI booth, which is just showcasing all these different capabilities on your own. So when we think about innovation, for example, Paul is going to talk about autonomous systems. We had a quite interesting example out there about cognitive research technologies. So we just announced the ability of these capabilities that are present within Microsoft Research. These were the previous cognitive services labs, and think about them as APIs and SDK that anyone can try and experiment with the early stages of innovation. So it goes from vision. We've got the ability, for example, to have gesture detection and recognition. You can have the language capabilities with one service called personality chat, which is kind of interesting. I will show you that in a second. Also, how you're going to probe the knowledge into specific database from academic or knowledge exploration and have smart insights out of that. And the last part is going to leverage the search capabilities with identification, for example, about a URL and how we got smart insights out of that. As of today, if I show you that, let me show you demos about it. So if you need to go at that place for all these cognitive research technologies, you just need to do aka.ms/cognitive research. And you access this list of different APIs and services. They were previously presented as cognitive services labs, and this has been put again in this Microsoft research site, in which you've got different capabilities that you can try by yourself right now. An interesting one that I like is personality chat, is how you're going to infuse within a bot a kind of interesting personality. Usually when you build a bot, you need to think about all the layers about how you're going to start to interact with the bot and all the questions. And guess what? Very often, the first question that people see is what you can do, and you should think about the answer of that one, or tell me a joke. And the idea of personality chat is having this kind of chit-chat layer above your component to get started with it. And so we've got personality based on that. You've got a professional one, an enthusiast one, a caring one, witty one, friendly one. And so now, if I take friendly, professional, and witty right now, and I say, tell me a joke, you'll see that the answer will differ from the personality based on that. So how do seagulls fly over the sea? Because if they flew over the bay, they'd be beggars. I'm not really that funny for the professional one. Tell me a joke for the witty one. How many humans does it take to screw a light bulb? One. So think about it as this introduction layer, and this is one of the projects that the Microsoft research team is working on, and we're going to have way more coming in the future. So when you think about these capabilities, I'm going back to the presentation. It's nice to have this kind of announcement like new capabilities, but it's even better how you can use them on your side and experiment them. And we created AI lab experiments just for that. So I will show you an interesting example about how we're able to process text and perform out of that knowledge mining, but step by step. So we've got this sentence that I found on Wikipedia, and I changed it a little bit, about two people, Matthew Hansen and Peary, who were the two people who went to find the North Pole in 1866, and it was pretty difficult. With all our AI platform today, we can find insights out of that with something as simple as text analytics. And when you're performing it, like this kind of analysis, you have the sentence. If you do sentiment and key phrases with the text analytics, one of the Azure cognitive services, you've got key phrases and sentiment. Sentiment, pretty negative, okay. Where it becomes interesting is that you're able even to have the ability to extract the entities and find information out of them. So this aspect is extremely interesting because what is an entity? It can be a famous person. It can be, for example, a medicine, like Rivastin, aspirin. It could be a place. It could be a generic item which is found differentiated than an object like a mouse or a keyboard or a screen. You can find entities very easily when you're on Bing today. Like if I go bing.com and you search, for example, for Satya Nadella, our CEO, what you've got here are the information about the entity Satya Nadella. You see that there is a place which is an entity. You see that there is the spouse, the children, even the universities are entities. What's interesting is then, what if we were able to extract in nearly real time all these entity informations to have more information, more knowledge from any unstructured type of data? So we try to apply that with this. This is a kind of prompter thing. So I'm going to speak in my machine, so with all the noise it might not work, but I like to try it. Hopefully. Let's wait for 2 seconds. So I was listening today for the Microsoft earnings calls, and they were talking about Satya Nadella as well as Bill Gates, and everything was pretty interesting. It works. So now what's interesting is that you've got the system which is automatically browsing into whatever you're saying and starting to extract insights from that with these entity extracted capabilities. So now you understand that the sentiment is pretty positive, and he's talking about two famous people, Satya and Bill Gates, but also an organization. So this starts to become interesting with a sentence to extract knowledge out of that. But what if we were able to extract more, not with one document, but with thousands of documents, more than 36,000 of documents. And this is where we had these interesting labs, and one of them is the Jfk Labs. So this is the site AI Labs, and we've got the explanation about what we did with the Jfk files. Paul, do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, thanks. You want to click into that lab?
Go that way. I move.
So in the Jfk Labs, we have this demo for Jfk Files, which allows us to put together a lot of the features that you saw within what John Paulo showed you around text analytics and cognitive services. And in this case, the government had a law that said, hey, you have to release all the documents related to the JFK assassination. And so we took those documents, there was 60,000 or so in the first batch, and we ran them through our cognitive services, and in particular, cognitive search. And cognitive search allows you to have a pipeline of cognitive components to process your data, and in such a way that you can start searching for common words that you might find within the document set. So in this case, we search for the word Oswald, and it finds documents that have been typed, or maybe even handwritten. We can see instances here of cases where it's handwritten at the bottom. We can find cases here where it's bad type scan and OCR. We can find photos, right, because we do facial recognition, and even though nowhere in this photo it says Oswald, we can still draw him out, so we can do facial recognition. Handwriting here. We also see things like, where's some other ones here?
Is there? GP Floor.
There's this one here, GP Floor, right? So the CIA likes to assign code names to people. So GP Floor was the code name for Oswald inside the documents. But more interestingly is that once we sort of understand the context, not just what the words are, but we can understand the entities and the relationships between those entities, we can start having other information where we can see relationships between people, and we can understand the relationships that people have within the documents. And so here we've extracted sort of the relationships that we understand, and we can see this sort of kind of mapping a graph around who's belonging with who. And so we can see two big clusters here of Oswald and this character here, Duran, which is Sylvia Duran, who was one of the KGB field agents that was in contact with Oswald. And so we see those relationships start to extract themselves as we process these documents using cognitive services.
So here you go one step further, which is not only using the cognitive skills, but using Azure Search out of that. And you've got basically super interesting sessions about knowledge mining happening there. The interesting point about that is that when we show, let me show you here, the AI lab about the project, you're able to play with it, exactly the demo that you had, but you're also able to download directly the source code on GitHub. And the purpose of these AI labs is really to showcase you all the different interesting, innovative projects and enable you to download them, most of them, as source code on GitHub. And the last piece that we had of feedback from customers and partners and developers working on that was, okay, you know what, it's cool to have the GitHub, but how can I have, for example, a step-by-step tutorial or a session that I'm going to present to people in any specific region? And this is where we created the AI School. And think about the AI School as the last element of how to get started with a specific topic with step-by-step guides and tutorials. So in that example of Jfk Files, if I go in the AI services, I can find the tutorial related to how to install it from GitHub, and I have all the pieces put together between setting up your own environment to creating the cognitive search pipeline with the skills and creating, in the end, the advanced search capabilities. So not only you're able to see the innovation and to play with it and experience it by yourself, but also you can customize it on your own and start getting, really getting started with your own specific problem or topic or challenge you might be interested to work on. And we do that not only with AI services, think about the cognitive services, but also conversational AI with end-to-end bot for specific scenarios. It can go into create an insurance bot, a retail bot. We're going to have the smart city end-to-end demonstration for a bot as step-by-step guides. Machine learning, in which you can have also crash courses. And also, this is where it becomes interesting with Paul, a pretty cool step-by-step walkthrough for autonomous systems. Do you want to talk about them?
Yeah, so today, as you saw in the keynote this morning, we're announcing that we're starting to develop a platform for building autonomous systems. And these systems allow you to build autonomous things that you might think of as robotics, or maybe an autonomous greenhouse, or an autonomous tractor, or a bulldozer. And these systems allow us to use things like machine teaching, reinforcement learning, and simulation to create these environments. And as part of that, we've also released this new AI school module, which allows you to have a learning path around machine teaching. So within machine teaching, you can understand, well, what do we mean by autonomous systems? How are these things different than what we've been doing previously? What is machine teaching, and how does that differ from traditional machine learning? What about deep reinforcement learning? How does that apply to the space of things like robotics? And then finally, how do we use things like air sim and simulation to kind of tie up and learn in a simulated environment? So as part of that today, we're launching that as well. We also have a number of demos on AI demos. So if you go to aidemos.microsoft.com, we have a number of demos as well here. These will show you some of the scenarios around autonomous systems, how you can do something like maybe a horizontal oil drilling to understand motion control. How do you manipulate an oil drill underground or fly a drone in the air? You can do that using machine teaching and reinforcement learning to maximize your efficiency and cost. So along with that, we also have a new website that we launched. So if you go to aka.ms/AS for autonomous systems, on the new website, we'll have all the links to everything that you see here. We're in the corner, we're the ones with the robots, right? So if you want to come over and see some cool robots, we have the robots over there. All the information is on this one website, aka.ms/AS, including how you sign up for the preview program that we have. So if you're interested and you have some cool scenarios, please click this, sign up for the preview program to get access to that. And then again, at the bottom is all of the demos that I just showed you.
So the last pieces of what we wanted to show you in this kind of resources which are available is also about, it's interesting to build system and have these cool new AI technologies, but how you're going to build them in a more responsible way. And we're also having a full initiative related to responsible AI about the right questions to ask ourselves and yourselves about when you're putting all these pieces together, what are the right questions to ask you? How you're going to have a bot, for example, accessible? How do you ensure that you are protecting yourself against misuse? How you're having a bot which is fair and which is promoting diversity? And all these things are not just a side topic. Like, we've got tons of conversations with lots of companies who really want to ensure that the technology that we're putting in place as building blocks are made in this kind of responsible way. So we've got a full booth dedicated to that in the AI section. And I would say that the last interesting part of responsible AI is that we've got all this AI for good pillar, in which we're talking about AI for accessibility, AI for, I would say, responsible manner. Think about inclusive, diversity, sustainable Earth is also an interesting topic, like how you're going to put in place systems that are going to help to clean water, or being able to ensure that you're having a more better agricultural system in place. So all these elements are part of also of a AI for Good booth, and part of it is that we're launching this kind of AI for Good challenge, which is going until end of June, in which we're inviting everyone to try for themselves to think about interesting and innovative ideas for sustainability, agriculture, biodiversity. This is not exhaustive list, but the interesting part is that you're able to see a little bit more how we can do that through our future sessions, which are going to happen during these next 3 days, and all the lists are there. And at our booth, we've got also the ability for you to get started about experimenting these interesting AI for Earth APIs with species classification or land cover mapping in which you can touch by yourself directly through experiments and also go away with kind of interesting sweatshirts if you want. So if there is one thing to remember out of that is that we've got all different resources to get started on AI, from discovering interesting pieces of innovation through AI blog, through testing it by yourself with the AI labs, but also being able for you to get started in the step-by-step mode with AI School. So feel free to take a look and keep us posted. We'll be there during the 3 days, just there in the Microsoft AI part. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.